Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me for a very early start on about 4 hours of sleep for the maiden voyage in the AMG GT R Roadster heading over towards Germany. We're going to be going down to the Eurotunnel, crossing to France and onwards to the Autobahn for the first time I'll have been in Germany actually in over 6 months since I was last out at the Nurburgring. Now by the time we get to the Autobahn, this car will be fully broken in. At the moment it's still pretty new with about 800 miles or so in total. We've got 400 in front of us today and a first opportunity to open up the taps once we cross 1,000 on the clock. Now in compliance with the current regulations, we have a myriad of different declarations, bits of paperwork, test results, tests to take along the way, new masks and all sorts of things. But first up we need to get the luggage into the car, which is a bit of a surprise to begin with, how much you can actually fit. Then let's get on the road down to the Eurotunnel and make our way to the Autobahn. The car is not exactly clean at the moment. We have got a lot of brake dust going on, for example, but we will deal with that later because we probably have some foul weather in front of us. The GT4 will be staying right there, hopefully by tucking it right into the wall and to the back. It's all going to be fine. I've parked this car very oddly close as you can imagine, but to make this space still usable and to be able to actually climb out. So the GT4 will stay here, the Taycan is here, the Yaris is here, the other cars are in storage. We've got the roof down just because I did it by the key to make it easier to put a few things in that we need for the journey. But I want to come and show you the luggage space because honestly it's a bit of a surprise quite how much you can actually fit in back here. The roof folds open onto the top of the deck lid. It does impede a little bit on the amount of available space that you have. If I just turn on the light very quickly, let me squeeze in the case and you'll see that the suitcases can actually fit from front to back like that. Wheelie cases, squeeze in some small bags at the end and it's all going to be good. So let me get it fully loaded up, all of the bits and pieces that we've got, and then it'll be time to head out. All loaded, surprisingly impressive. Right, shut that down, let's hop on board, let's probably get the roof back in place and let's go. It's start time, we've got 804 miles, let's fire it up. And we've also, by the way, got the sticker here which tells me about breaking in a new vehicle instructions, and yeah, it's pretty grimy, but let's go. It's about 8 in the morning, but it's 6 degrees as we depart, going through central London, past Marble Arch, a bit of a sightseeing tour as we commence this journey. It's about 2 hours from here down towards the Eurotunnel crossing, which last year I did a lot of times. This year, of course, it's the first time in a while, and you can tell my voice is saying it's way too early in the morning. Only because I had a lot of things to tie up last night, including cars and logistics before we're on the way. But yeah, let's hope it's plain sailing. I did say it would be a bit of a sightseeing tour as we go past Buckingham Palace, looking glorious in the morning sunshine. So far, not that bad actually. Not much traffic around for London at this time of day. There are a lot of different routes you can take out of London. We're heading under Admiralty Arch. We're going, it's a bit of a building site at the moment as they do some repairs. We're about to go into Trafalgar Square with Nelson's Column, just to the left, but I would say paying the £15 a day congestion charge was worth it for our early morning sightseeing session. I've not been around here for a while, so a nice view of different things, famous landmarks of London. Little bit more sightseeing. We've got the Tower of London, and then just behind it, where you can't quite see at the moment, is of course Tower Bridge. This has been a very, very easy drive, pretty much just straight on cruise basically, all the way down. It's taken less long than I thought. We've got a long time before the train, which is good with all of the checks and things that you've got to go through, but it is actually my first time heading to Europe since the turn of the year, since Brexit, having been in the USA, which means the first time doing the different regulations, including taking a UK car abroad. So I think it should all go without a hitch, but we will find out, and hopefully we'll be on a train very shortly. Well, it has to be said, it is not particularly busy here. We're at the Flexi Plus Lounge, although I don't think we necessarily needed to get to the first of the next train. But nonetheless, some snacks and things ready for the road ahead. I'm gonna try and, oh look, I wonder what he's looking at. That was a surprise, a few cars coming through. We're going to try and get through France as quickly as possible. We're going to head all the way down, basically towards Strasbourg and then into Germany. But with curfews and things, it means we need to have planned this quite in advance, and it's very, very, very complicated, believe me. He's just chilling. He's just totally chilling. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we've got about 5 minutes until it'll be time to head through and go and get ready to board. And then yeah, we'll take the GTR Roadster over to France. It is the familiar boarding of the Eurotunnel train, which takes us under the English Channel, literally under the sea, across to France. It's about a 35-minute crossing, and the clocks go forward an hour, and in here we can set the time, and I think maybe we can change the headlights, we can put it in kilometers, and all of that when we get out onto the other side. But yeah, nice and easy, to be honest. And just like this, we emerge out the other side where the weather is less than friendly, unfortunately, but I did think that was going to be the case today. In good news though, it is only 6 hours and 25 on the navigation to where we're heading today, which might come as no surprise that we're going to the V8 hotel at the Motorworld in Böblingen, outside of Stuttgart, which is one of my favourite places to stop. Kind of feels like home, just comfortable, good place to effectively settle down for the night. So the car's all in kilometers, and the time has not updated yet. It's supposed to be automatic, maybe that will happen shortly. But yeah, we're ready to go, we're cruising, we're comfortable. I've also got the telepéage device that you can use for the French tolls, so that will come into its own as we're going down as well, down as I said towards Strasbourg, and then across to speed limits, absolutely doesn't care. And then across into Germany from Strasbourg, and we go into France. So first time this car has been in another country. Not technically true, because of course it is built in Germany and then comes from Germany to the UK, presumably via Belgium or a boat somewhere or something, I don't actually know. Anyway, we're in France, we've got probably 5 hours before we reach Germany. The fun thing now is that says 1,499 kilometers. When it hits 1,500, that will mean the car is running. Now technically, 1,500 kilometers is not the same as 1,000 miles. There we go. This GTR Roadster is now running and good to go, but that's not the same. But on here, in German it says 1,500 kilometers, and in English it says 1,000 miles. 1,000 miles is more like 1,600 and a little bit kilometers. Who knows, but we're just chilling on the auto routes anyway, which are totally empty and a complete cruise. So we'll wait until we get to Germany and then we'll have some fun. Pulling out of the services, we're way up ahead, he says, zooming in all the way, is an Aston Martin DB11 disappearing away from us. Unfortunately, the rain is absolutely atrocious. It's pouring rain, I'm in the passenger seat, but take a look here. We need to slow down so that we can see all of this. We've got a few transporters loaded with nice cars. We've had a couple of Lambos, Ferraris, Alpine, all sorts of different things. Crazy! I'm back at the wheel, but this is pretty much the story of this afternoon. The weather has been non-stop. Since we arrived in France, having had sunshine on the UK side of the channel, arriving to not rain, but wet ground, and then this started, and it's been getting progressively worse and worse and worse. We're about an hour from the German border, so we're about 5 hours now into France, but I don't see it getting any better, to be honest, which is not ideal for some Autobahn fun. We'll see what happens when we get there, but no promises at this stage. We're about to arrive at the German border. There's a little bit where we have these smaller roads until we get onto the Autobahn, but I can tell you right now that with just under an hour to go, it's not going to change. And this car is of course on the tyres that it came with, the Michelin Sport Cup 2s, which are fantastic tyres, but very much suited to dry weather on track, for example, and not these kind of very, 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 very greasy bits of roads. You see, as the truck in front of us just went through this puddle on the right and made a gigantic splash along the way. I tell you what's slightly on my mind is that if I was doing this in the GT Black Series, that comes with the Sport Cup 2R tyres, which are an even stickier compound and even worse when it's like this, which would change what you can actually do with that. So that's going to make me think when the car does come. It's like in the McLarens. If I was in this weather in the 675 or in the Senna, we would have parked up earlier. We would not still be driving. You just can't. It's way too dangerous. The smallest bit of standing water and you're going to be aquaplaning somewhere and it's going to go completely and totally wrong. Whereas we're about actually to cross over the River Rhine, which is in this area effectively the divide between France
and Germany has multiple parts to it here, but a fairly gigantic crossing. I suppose somewhere just up ahead of us we will have the welcome to Germany sign. Yes, I can see it just beyond the truck in front, but this is it makes the journey feel a lot longer when it's like this. You know, we've been in France for 6 hours non-stop driving in this kind of grim miserable stuff, but here we go into Germany after our transit through France, and yeah. This is such a disaster for a road trip. This is not what you want for the start of a trip in a convertible. That's not going to be coming down anytime soon. We're arriving then at the Autobahn, the A5 that goes to Karlsruhe. We have actually now done 2,070 kilometers, so we are nearly 600 kilometers through the running in, and up to this point I'm still in comfort. I can press that and go into individual, where it sets everything up how I've got it, but aware that things are a little bit sketchy still, I'm going to go the other way up into Sport Plus just so it sounds a little bit better. And then I've got these lovely buttons here on the steering wheel, which you didn't have on the first gen GTR, only on the facelift, where I can press that and it goes manual, and we get a little bit more noise out of it. But OPF sound, it's still very muted, and I know on this kind of ground, if I put my foot down, we're going to be, well, sliding around a little bit, which is fun in a way, but probably not for today because we want to get safely to our destination. So even though we're arriving on Autobahn, it's not the 300 km/h blitz I certainly would have loved to give a go of in this car. It should go just over 300 km an hour. I think the top speed in here is 197 miles an hour, I want to say, which is something like just over 300 kilometers an hour. We need to find out exactly what the top speed is. Probably the same as the Pro. Pro ran into a limiter at the top end when I tested that on a nice day once upon a time on an open stretch. I will be able to take this off when we get home though. The running in sticker is on the windscreen. Well, that's for now. I mean, that's officially the highest in the rev range this car's ever been. Some burbles. Gosh, look at this. Yeah, you just can't. I am not taking chances with this. Not today. Let's go back into comfort, back into automatic. Look at this. This is an absolute joke. Now the G-Wagon on the back of the Transporter in front of us is the right kind of car to be driving in this weather. Not this one. Not this one at all. I guess that's being delivered somewhere, and it is the only thing on the back of the Transporter. You can't actually transport a G-Wagon in the normal single car trailers that we often use for some of my cars. They are too big and heavy and tall, as are obviously new Defenders and other things of that kind of ilk. I just can't believe how this has gone. This morning I had no idea this is what we were going to be heading towards. No idea at all. We've had a really good run today with next to no traffic until we arrive at Stuttgart, where we're instantly into a traffic jam, which is kind of normal around these parts. Hazards, but I think everybody kind of knows. Alas, this adds a little bit of time. We're only 44 kilometers away now, which is kind of cool, from the place where I've been many times before, many significant memories, events and trips and stops actually at the Motorworld and at the V8 Hotel. We're arriving then, and the other thing that I haven't actually mentioned one single time in this whole video is that of course this is the hometown of Mercedes. The engines in this car are famously made over at a Voltebach, one-man, one engine by the team over there, but the car is actually assembled in the plants which are effectively all around us. When we come off here, off towards the right, I think they're pretty much right up in front, but every building around here has a three-pointed Mercedes star on it, because this is, well, literally the homeland of Mercedes-Benz in Sindelfingen, and the customer centre where you can come and collect a car is just around here as well. Basically, I think the car park, probably with all of these when they've freshly been built, is effectively off to the left. Not that we're going to be able to see it, but just over that away, in the middle of some of those buildings. And then around over towards the other side, we have the Motorworld, which is exactly where we're heading now, and the new and old V8 hotels This is where, being in a convertible, I have a bit of a blind spot, but we can do it. There we go, right up in front of us, the Motorworld. This is our destination for the evening after an absolutely brutal and exhausting drive. I'm not gonna lie. Everything is massively more tiring when you're facing weather like that, but here is always interesting as we go past in terms of what we can see, because this is the Ferrari showroom, where I think the used cars are upstairs. You probably can't really see too much. I see some 430s, 458s, that kind of thing. Anything really stands out, 488s. Not entirely sure, never know what might be lurking. Oh, reflection of this car off the windows looks very nice. And then this is where we are coming. And you might remember the day I went to get my SLS Black Series with the G-Wagon and a trailer, we had it just down here on the right. That is basically where we started the drive on collection day to head over and pick it up. And this is where we've been many times recently, because also inside you have Arthur Bechtel, the classics, you have Pagani just here, where there is a Zonda inside, lovely. And we might have to go and do some window shopping, and we have Porsche as well. Yeah, always interesting what's about. We'll actually go and have a look. I'm doing this very quickly because the weather is so grim, but have a quick look at what is inside here and you will spot Muck Collectors, Zonda and Huayra Roadster BC, plus this red carbon Huayra with the gull wing doors up as well. Very cool here at Pagani Stuttgart. And then a few other things, oh, a Singer cover, and a few other things in the showroom as well that are really nice, but this weather is so horrible, we're gonna go park the car up inside the garage because I don't want to be outside any longer than I need to. Parked up then in a very familiar garage after all of the adventures last year. In fact, I think at one point I had the McLaren Senna, 675 LT Spider, and the SLS Black Series all here at the same time. Now, of course, with the AMG GT R Roadster, a great car for the kind of drive today, even in those kind of conditions. To be honest, you always worry when you have sporty tyres on if you're going to have an issue, but no issues, thankfully, on today's journey. There are also some pretty cool things around. Performante, 720S, some nice 911s, there's a 765 LT just behind as well. But there is, however, one little problem that I have discovered with this car on the last couple of stretches, which is that something isn't right with the retractable front spoiler. Now, the car has this effectively rubber spoiler that's pushed down underneath the car when you're driving at speed to balance it and help it with its aero profile. That is pinging up an error, which means it has a speed limiter at 198 or 199 kilometers per hour, which is still very, very fast. It's about 124, maybe 123 miles per hour, but it's not good if you want to take a car on the Autobahn or to the Nurburgring. So I need to work out what's happened with that. Maybe just leaving it overnight fixes it. Maybe it's because of all of the rain. Maybe it's something completely disastrous. We will find out in due course. For today, we need to get all of our luggage unloaded, go check in at the V8 hotel, because that was a very, 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 very long drive. In fact, it's been 11 hours since we left, 11 hours on the road. And those seats, by the way, need replacing with the buckets because they are far too stiff and sore, and I don't really like them very much. Anyway, you can probably tell I'm exhausted. That's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. As always, guys, appreciate your support an awful lot. Stay tuned. There's some cool stuff to come. Thanks for watching. Cheers.